Hey guys, it's Kenzie. Welcome back to my channel. Today we are finally, after months of not having one, doing a cocoa and Jesus. Technically it's a matcha and Jesus, but you know what, it's fine. So I have a lavender matcha here. And today I was going through and I was trying to figure out what I wanted today's cocoa and Jesus to be, because it's been so long since I've last done one. And also, words. Oh, and I was trying to figure out what I've already done, because I didn't want to be super repetitive. In all of the times I've done a cocoa and Jesus, you know what story in the Bible that I absolutely love that I have never talked about? It's Daniel in the lion's den and the lion's den. And in one of the two. Anyway. So that's what we're going to talk about. That's what we're going to talk about today. And I believe, okay, so it's in the book of Daniel, chapter 6. I believe it is all of chapter 6. So, yes, that is where we will be. I don't remember how I normally do these videos. I'm going to be honest. I know that I'm usually grab a Bible or don't, a notebook or don't, a snack, a drink, I've got my matcha today. I'm pretty sure he said something along those lines, but I don't remember. Okay, so we are in Daniel chapter 6, and technically you don't have to read the other first 5 chapters of Daniel before you can read this chapter and the story. It might make a little bit more sense, but it's not going to change anything really. So in chapter 6, verse 1, and I'm in the NIV? Yes, NIV version, which is New International. So anyway, chapter 6, verse 1, it pleased Darius to appoint 120 satraps to rule throughout the kingdom, with 3 administrators over them, one of whom was Daniel. The satraps were made accountable to them so that the king might not suffer loss. Now Daniel so distinguished himself among the administrators and the satraps by his exceptional qualities that, okay, hon, I gotta do the thing where you because if not I'm getting off track. But anyway, now Daniel so distinguished himself among the administrators and the satraps by his exceptional qualities that the king planned to set him over the whole kingdom. At this, the administrators and the satraps tried to find grounds for charges against Daniel in his conduct of government affairs, but they were unable to do so. They could find no corruption in him because he was trustworthy and neither corrupt nor negligent. Finally, these men said, "We will never find any basis for charges against this man Daniel, unless it has something to do with the law of his God." So in verse 6, so these administrators and satraps went as a group to the king and said, "May King Darius live forever." The royal administrators, prefects, satraps, advisors, and governors have all agreed that the king should issue an edict and enforce the decree that anyone who prays to any god or human being during the next 30 days, except to you, your majesty, shall be thrown into the lion's den. Now, your majesty, issue the decree and put it in writing so that it cannot be altered, in accordance with the law of the Medes and Persians, which cannot be repealed. So King Darius put the decree in writing. So these advisors, right? They were basically jealous. They were jealous of Daniel and his favor with the king. They had hatred towards Daniel because of his favor with the king, and also because he believed what they did not. So they were like, hey, we're gonna trick the king to make us for Daniel. He's gonna be no more, because they couldn't find anything to actually persecute him. So they were like, yeah, we got this. We'll fix it. And then in verse 10, now when Daniel learned that the decree had been published, he went home to his upstairs room where the windows opened toward Jerusalem. 3 times a day he got down on his knees and prayed, giving thanks to his God, just as he had done before. Even with the decree, Daniel was like, no, I'm gonna go pray. I'm gonna go pray. I don't care if you don't want me to. I'm gonna go pray. Because he had faith, not fear. And we learn a little bit more about that later. Then these men went as a group and found Daniel praying and asking God for help. So they went to the king and spoke to him about his royal decree. Did you not publish a decree that during the next 30 days, among anyone who prays to any god or human except you, your majesty, would be thrown into the lion's den? The king answered, the decree stands in accordance with the law of the Medes and Persians, which cannot be repealed. Then they said to the king, Daniel, who is one of the exiles from Judah, pays no attention to you, your majesty, or to the decree you put in writing. He still prays 3 times a day. When the king heard this, he was greatly distressed. He was determined to rescue Daniel and made every effort until sundown to save him. Again, the king favored Daniel. The king liked Daniel. He was like, oh, that's not good. I don't want Daniel to have to go in the lion's den, but I kind of made this public decree, and I kind of got to stick to it. How do I fix this? My mouth is dry, and I think it's because of the matcha. More specifically, the milk in the matcha. But anyway, I need to do better at drinking water during these. Anyway, then in verse 15, then the men went as a group to King Darius and said to him, remember, your majesty, that according to the law of the Medes and Persians, no decree or edict that the king issues can be changed. So the king gave the order, and they brought Daniel and threw him into the lion's den. The king said to Daniel, may your God whom you serve continually rescue you. Which I'm actually going to underline that. I'm surprised I don't have it underlined already. But yeah, like the king was like, okay, Daniel, this God you serve, like he has continuously been there for you. You have continuously prayed to him and served him. Like, all right, let him rescue you. Like, I would rather him rescue you. I hope he rescues you. Let him rescue you. So let me just underline that real quick. Right. And then a stone was brought and placed over the mouth of the den, and the king sealed it with his own signet ring, and with the rings of his nobles, so that Daniel's situation may not be changed. Then the king returned to his palace and spent the night without eating and without any entertainment being brought to him, and he could not sleep. He couldn't sleep because he was thinking about Daniel in the lion's den. He was like, oh my gosh, like Daniel's in there, like he's with hungry lions, like he's going to die. He's like, what have I done? But you guys, if you've never heard the story before, you will never believe what happens next. Like, it's crazy what happens next. In verse 19, At the first light of dawn, the king got up and hurried to the lion's den. When he came near the den, he called to Daniel in an anguished voice. Daniel, servant of the living God, has your God, whom you serve continually, been able to rescue you from my lions? Daniel answered, May the king live forever. My God sent his angel, and he shut the mouths of the lions. They have not hurt me, because I was found innocent in his sight, nor have I ever done anything wrong before you, your majesty. Because God found favor and innocence in Daniel, and because Daniel was so, faithful to God, God was like, no, I'm going to protect you. Lion's trying to eat you? No. 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 The king was overjoyed and gave orders to lift Daniel out of the den. And when Daniel was lifted from the den, no wound was found on him because he had trusted in his God. What can you say about that? In verse 25, then King Darius wrote to all the nations and peoples of every language in all the earth, May you prosper greatly. I issue a decree that in every part of my kingdom people must fear and reverence the God of Daniel, for he is the living God and he endures forever. His kingdom will not be destroyed. His dominion will never end. He rescues and he saves. He performs signs and wonders in the heavens and on the earth. He has rescued Daniel from the power of the lions. So Daniel prospered during the reign of Darius and the reign of Cyrus the Persian. That's pretty cool. In my opinion, that's pretty cool. There is also a verse that I kind of skipped over. I already closed my Bible. Alright, let's just... Okay, so I did skip over a little bit. Okay, so I literally just skipped over verse 24, which is, at the king's command, the men who had falsely accused Daniel were brought in and thrown into the lion's den, along with their wives and children, and before they reached the floor of the den, the lions overpowered them and crushed all their bones. Now, why King Darius decided to also throw the wives and children in, I don't know. I don't think that was right of King Darius, but this was also 2,000 years ago, so I can't tell him not to do that. But yeah, that is just a really, other than the wives and children, that is a very just awesome Bible story to talk about. It is one of my favorite stories. It's one I've heard about many, many times. And it just, every time I read it, I'm like, wow, this is just amazing. It's so beautiful. So yeah, that is our first Coco and Jesus of 2025. Nice. And our first one in several months. So yeah, we did it. We did another one. I'm hoping to do these at least once a month, once every other month, something like that. Get them going again. Because I do genuinely enjoy filming these. Not saying I don't enjoy filming my other videos. It's just these videos are the ones that don't stress me out to make. So anyway, I hope you enjoyed. I hope you have a good day, night, evening, whatever time of day you're watching this. Jesus loves you. So do I. And hold on, I gotta put my watch down. And bye.